Hi there. Welcome. I'm Bob Thompson, and I'd like to welcome you to the Philanthropic Planner Show. We've been doing this crazy thing for a long time now, 9 years, I think, and approaching our 100th program. But philanthropy, a boring subject. Why would you do this? I get people that ask me, what are you doing this for? Well, for a lot of reasons, but I get a lot of satisfaction out of it by talking to people like you, philanthropists. Yes, you can. You don't have to be a multimillionaire to be a philanthropist. We talked about that in the past, but if you're a first-timer, philanthropy, we want to kind of have a friendly forum to promote meaningful dialogue about the importance of philanthropy to the community, to the state and region, nationally, globally. So it is important for us to talk about, but we take it for granted. Before we get started, and I'll cut short my introductory remarks because we have an important guest today, but I'd like first to, I picked up the newspaper day before yesterday, and here's a Hartford magazine, a special report that comes with the paper, and if you don't get it, go out and get it, but it's kind of timely. Giving Spirits. There are two articles in here that I'd bring your attention to. One in particular is The Art of Giving, and it talks about an old friend, Ezra and Chrissy Ripple, as philanthropists. And the second article is really about checking on your charity, seeing that the money goes where it's supposed to go. But I thought this was very timely because today's program, we're happy to have a guest from the Salvation Army, and Mike Afflitto, Director of Planned Giving. Is that right?
That's correct.
I get it right? Okay.
Yes, you did. Great to be here, Bob.
Welcome. We talked at a meeting a month or so ago, and the Salvation Army puts on every year, and it's a very, very good program for advisors. And I talked to Mike and said, yeah, we're coming up to that great season of Red Kettle. I said, I'd love to have you. We had Salvation Army on maybe 8 years ago, and it's been a long time. We're glad to have you back. It wasn't you. How long you been with the Salvation Army?
Been with the Army for 10 years.
Okay. Well, we missed you on that 8th year. Director of Planned Giving. First, I want to talk about Red Kettle. And some things I learned that I didn't know. You have an online Red Kettle program?
We do. We have an online Red Kettle program. It's been fairly successful for us. This year, however, we're really promoting the text to give as opposed to the online Red Kettle. It's not to say that the Red Kettle doesn't still exist, but there's some technological nuances to the Red Kettle, and the text to give really is we find it to be a much easier
Now
app.
explain that. What's the difference?
Well, the online Red Kettle, you can go to the Army's website, create your own, in effect, virtual kettle. And then you ask others to make their gift to the Army to your kettle.
Kind of peer-to-peer
Sure.
social media stuff.
Yeah, it's, we obviously, that's something that the Army, as other charities are doing. You need to have more of a presence in the online arena. So we do have online Red Kettles, and you could go to our website and establish one and raise some money for the Army that way. But we're also, this year, we're really promoting Text to Give. It's not a program that I'm really very familiar with, but I can just tell you that it's a program that I'm told is really something that we expect to be of great benefit to the Army.
Good.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to have an automatic monthly gift to the Army, I can still do that by...
Oh, sure. You can go online and create a monthly withdrawal from either your checking account, savings account, and any dollar amount that you'd like, and we can set that up for you.
Okay.
A lot of folks do that.
Okay.
You know.
I know a lot of the universities and other nonprofits do that, and it's just the volume, when we're talking about just sheer volume.
Sure.
Yeah. Importance of Red Kettle out there ringing the bell, and this is a big time of the year for the Army.
It is. We actually had our Connecticut kickoff last Friday at the state capitol. It was a kickoff event for the Red Kettle season in Connecticut. We're hoping to raise in excess, or our goal is $2 million in Connecticut.
Good.
We're sure that the great people of Connecticut will support us and support the Red Kettle effort. It's about a $140 million program across the United States for the Army, so it's significant.
It is big.
We find that folks get a great sense of a good feeling about supporting the Army. Yeah. It's hard to walk by the kettle without putting a little something in there.
It is hard.
And we're so appreciative of that. That folks really take the time to stop and put whatever they can in.
It doesn't matter how big or how little.
Well, those nickels and dimes and dollars, and
they add up.
In some cases, like in Houston, the Krugerrand, where we every year,
I see that.
Some philanthropist drops Krugerrand into the kettle. That all adds up.
Yeah, it does.
Well,
the Army's been around 150 years.
This is actually our 150th anniversary year, 2015. The Army started in 1865 by William Booth in the slums of East London. We've stayed true to our mission to serve people.
The needy, yeah.
Anybody. Serve people without discrimination, and it's been really. I think it's a mission that not only have we stayed true to it, but we've done our very best to adapt and enhance our programmatic pieces to today's world.
To recognize the needs.
Well, there's different needs. They're different now than they were 100 years ago. They're different than they were 50 years ago. They're different than they were 10 years ago. We have a wonderful new program nationally. It started in the Central Territory of the Salvation Army. It's called Pathway of Hope. It's a new program that we're initiating in the Southern New England Division, actually implementing it in Bridgeport and New Haven right now. Next year we're rolling it out in Meriden. So there'll be 3 cities where this program, Pathway of Hope, will be in place.
Now, what's its focus, Mike?
Well, it's a program really where we're taking 20 to 25 families and a social worker is assigned to the families, and it's a program to transition people out of poverty or out of the scenario, the situation that they're in, be it homelessness, drug addiction, whatever their challenge is. So it's a program where we're going to take people who are already coming to us,
Okay.
and work with them in a more direct, and I guess a way where we're going to come alongside them and show them some different things, life skills, some basic things, how to look for a job,
Yeah.
How to balance a checkbook, how to finish high school if
Yeah.
that's a need that you have. So this Pathway of Hope is a program that we think will actually end the cycle of poverty.
And that's what it is a cycle.
It really is. 1 in 3 people in the United States live in poverty. And in Connecticut, particularly in the larger cities, in particular in Bridgeport, as we talk about the Pathway of Hope program, there's a real need to end the cycle of poverty. And so the Army feels that this program, which is really an intense effort by the Army's social services arm to work directly with people. And there's a responsibility that a person or the families have to meet certain benchmarks.
Okay.
And if you don't meet them, we're going to transition people out of the program and bring people in that really want to participate. So we're hoping that we can help folks, and we're also hoping that people, the philanthropists that you mentioned, will have an interest in this program and perhaps support it in a significant way. Because the need is fairly significant. It's we're in the startup phase. It's approximately $100,000 in each location that we need to start the program. And then to sustain it, we're crafting an endowment campaign as well. So we hope that to build endowment.
Excellent.
To be able to generate the revenue that the program needs each year, not only in these 3 cities, but in the 23 locations around the division.
Those are your centers.
Those are the cores,
community
as they're called, but the Salvation Army centers. There's 23 locations through Connecticut and Rhode Island, which is the Southern New England division. So it's our hope that we'd have this program in place throughout the division, and as a matter of fact, throughout the country. But it's a really large undertaking, and it's going to be, I think we'll be best served by being in cities where the need exists, where there's greater need, I should say, and where we're able to support and sustain the program.
Like you say, they're coming to the Army. They recognize that the Army can help them in some way. It's amazing to me if you haven't been into the Army's website, it's amazing to me when you look at the financials and statements and the good that they're doing the most for needy people. 27 million people received some type of assistance last year from the Army. 27 million. So this pathway, there are a lot of people out there that need, in addition to the hunger and the shelter and the furniture and all the things that the Army does so well. We've got a lot of people out there that, including veterans, but the Army does some wonderful things. Let me get into your area. Laura and I from our office, we were in Indianapolis 2 weeks ago, and the Lilly family at the School of Philanthropy in Indianapolis, a part of Indiana University and IUPUI. We've been involved with that program for a long time, back to 1988 and 89 when the Committee on Planned Giving just started. But we hear people say, I would like to give more if I could. I would like to give more if I knew how. If I could is capacity. You and I are dealing with donors that have capacity. But there are a lot of people out there that have capacity that don't know how to use it. So I would give more if I knew how. So in your area, planned giving, and I want to focus on that a little bit because that's what we do, and that kind of prompts the reason to have this program. We talk about wills, we talk about trusts, we talk about gift annuities. Tell us where you spend your time.
Well, the majority of my time is spent working with individuals who have not only capacity but willingness. And I work mostly with people who want to make a gift through will or trust. I do oversee the Army's annuity program. It's a smaller part of our planned giving program now, although we have a significant annuity program in place.
Okay.
Economic conditions really dictate
True.
how well your annuity program does. But our focus is really on bequests.
Okay.
So I spend most of my time working with people on bequests. What we see now, though, and it's a way that anybody can make a planned gift. That's a saying we have in the office. Not everybody can make a major gift, but everybody can make a planned gift. And I can show anybody, as you know, how you can make a planned gift. And one great way is beneficiary designation. If you have any type of vehicle where you have beneficiary designation, an IRA, a life insurance policy, a brokerage account. Some brokerage accounts allow for beneficiary designation. You can simply name the Army or any other charity as a beneficiary. In fact, as you know, one of the best vehicles to give to charity is an IRA, as opposed to leaving it to one of your heirs. So I work with people, and we can show them the best way for them to make a gift. Spend a lot of time on people's homes, just having conversation and asking them, what is it that you want to accomplish? What keeps you up at night?
Right. Right. They want to have an impact. They want to have significance of what they're all about, their value.
Sure.
And if they can give, and there's, in my mind, there's no greater organization than the Salvation Army and what they do.
Well, thank you.
And we recognize, no, I mean that sincerely, because we have a lot of guests, different charities, large and small. Mm-hmm. The Army is one of the top 2 or 3 largest nonprofits in the country. And part of the reason for that is people recognize the services that they provide, the need that needs to be met there. So the Army has done a lot of wonderful things. They continue to do it. But it's one of those nonprofits that we take for granted. And I know that's true with a lot of nonprofits, but people have a passion for their university, their alma mater. They have a passion for a hospital where a spouse died. They have something inside of them that drives them with other nonprofits. But we take the Army for granted, except for the Red Kettle.
Well, I think that, inherently, the Army is a very humble organization, and the officers that have committed their life to the service, to the Army through their ministry. We don't tell a lot of people what we do, Bob, as you know.
No,
we just
true.
do it.
That's true.
And sometimes to our own detriment. I happen to think that the Army has the greatest brand in the not-for-profit world. But I don't think we leverage it. We just go about doing our work.
Doing the most.
Doing the most good. That's the moniker. That's the saying that goes along with the shield. You see that in a lot of our publications. But we really pride ourselves on being an efficient and effective organization. We drive between 82 and 84 cents of every donated dollar to our programs and services. So we're not a top-heavy organization.
Right.
We believe that a donor's dollar is best spent in service to those in need. And that's something that we really feel good about. And I think that if there's one thing that I would say to people, it's that you really have comfort and confidence to know that the Army uses your philanthropic dollar in the very best way, and it'll really go to helping people in need.
Let me come back to your comment, Mike, about the economic conditions and this kind of thing. Let me come back to charitable gift annuities for a second. We did a quote for a client a week, 10 days ago. 71 years old, $10,000 stock. Doesn't want to sell the stock because of the capital gain. And I mean, this gentleman, I just love the guy. He doesn't want to pay that capital gains tax. I'm going to die with that. I said, but how much is it giving you? Oh, not a very big dividend. Not a very big dividend. $2,800 is cost basis for that $10,000. Actually, it's more than that, but we were focusing in on 10,000 of that portfolio. You do the math after tax. If you were paying the capital gains, due at 71, okay, he's getting 6.3% or something close to that, all right?
On a gift annuity.
On a gift annuity. And
that's hard to find in the commercial markets.
20-some% of that, maybe even larger than that, I think it's larger than that, isn't taxed. So the equivalent, he'd have to have a yield out there of close to 8% at his tax bracket. When you do the math, he turns around and says, why wouldn't I do this? I'm saying that's exactly right. So charitable gift annuities are things that my profession in planning, we don't talk about as advisors because we don't want that 10,000 to go away from our management, right?
Sure.
Baloney. It is good for the client to replace less than a 1% dividend yield to get the equivalent of 8% for life.
For life.
And benefiting the Army with hopefully half of that.
Well, as you know, gifts of appreciated stock, or appreciated stock is really the very best way to fund a gift annuity. And so many people, you know, have in their portfolio appreciated stock. And if they're not receiving the type of return that they've been accustomed to, or if there's a need for increased disposable income,
right,
you really should look at your portfolio and take a portion, small portion, and obviously on the base of your financial advisor or other allied professional that you work with, perhaps your tax accountant, to see how that might fit in your overall financial plan. You know, I have some folks that ladder gift annuities, which is really a wonderful way to create a increasing amount of disposable income in your retirement. It's one of the questions I ask people. You know, if I could show you a way where in the first 5 years of your retirement you could increase your retirement income, would you be willing to consider that? And of course the answer is yes. You know,
the figures are astounding.
They are, particularly if you start, say, around 55 and use a deferred gift annuity. It's really an amazing vehicle. And ultimately, you know, Bob, gift annuities, you know, and annuities, they're a product.
I don't like commercial annuities. I have to start with that. And here's one for you. 30 years or more ago, I started doing laddered charitable gift annuities.
Well, good.
Laddered charitable gift annuities. And when you do the figures for 10 years, it's astounding, the lifetime income. And when you compare the alternative, for that piece of your account, okay, your portfolio, the gentleman I was just talking about, that 10,000, he wants to gift 10,000 a year for the rest of his life. Now, how do I do it? And I'm thinking, not the red kettle with cash in the red kettle, but an appreciated asset.
Well, sure. I mean, you know, I'm sure this gentleman's real motivation is to benefit the work in the Army or another charity.
Yeah.
And that's great. But why not do it in such a way where you can take your life's work and have it benefit you now?
Right.
And then the organization that reflects your values, have it benefit their work in the future. Because ultimately, that's what a gift annuity does.
Right.
It supports the work in the Army or any other organization. When the gift matures, it ultimately helps the work of the Army.
Yeah.
So
I call it the difference between voluntary philanthropy and involuntary philanthropy. And that involuntary philanthropy is tax. And that's what this gentleman wanted to avoid.
Sure.
He just didn't know how.
Well, I think we pay enough taxes.
I like you, Mike.
And I think that why not use what's out there in terms of gift vehicles to benefit yourself, your family. As you know, you
Correct.
can create annuity or trust to benefit you, your family, and then ultimately a charity, whether it's your church, whether it's your alma mater, whether it's an organization like the Army.
Our average, Mike, is probably in the 5 or 6 nonprofits that people will include either in their will or their trust or what have you. I would say 5 is probably an average that we experience.
Right.
But
We see that as well. As you can imagine, the Army, receives a significant number of bequests. In Connecticut, in the Southern New England Division, between $3 and $4 million in matured bequests each year. And that's just in Connecticut and Rhode Island here.
Yeah. We're running out of time, Mike, but on that point, we have some people actually watch this program. I'm amazed, but we've had people say, Bob, I've changed my will. I saw your program. I changed it from $1,000 that I had in my will in 1988 to 1% of my estate. Now, this time of the year and the time of giving, wouldn't it be nice if you went back and looked at your will and changed that $1,000 to Salvation Army to 1% of your estate? We really could get that $2, $3, $4 million that we need for the services that you're providing.
Well,
time runs fast here, Mike. We could talk for another hour or two and talk about some more things that the Army's doing, but I appreciate you coming in and joining us.
well, thanks for having me. Maybe we can do it again.
That sounds good.
All right.
That sounds good. Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.